Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Today is December 9th. We are counting down until the last night of John Cena in WWE. John Cena is going to be wrestling Gunther on WWE's Saturday night's main event. Um, I can honestly tell you, um, my first thoughts of John Cena honestly were coming as I was like getting into like I was moving to California, and I just wasn't in touch with being a wrestling fan as much. John Cena debuted in 2002. 2002, I was going through a little bit of a transitional phase. I didn't have cable for a little bit. I was mostly just reading results. Internet video wasn't that big of a deal back in the day, but around that time. I mean, honestly, I remember like if you wanted to watch like a YouTube music video, no, it wasn't even YouTube. I apologize. If you just wanted to watch a music video on the internet, you would have to like click the button, and normally it would be like an eternity, which was probably like a minute before the video started playing in like the lowest resolution of all time. So like there was like videos you could watch of wrestling, but just not as many. It just wasn't out there like when you went to like WWE.com or any other sites like that. So, when I first like started reading about John Cena in magazines, I kind of really didn't like understand it all that much. When the first time that I ever saw John Cena and I could tell that he was a big star was probably when he got drafted from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. And I knew because he was going to be moving over with the championship that it probably meant Batista was going to be moving to SmackDown. And I was like, wow, they're really putting this John Cena guy as the number one guy on the Monday Night Raw brand. That was like the first time that I ever really noticed it, like he was going through it. And I just started watching along the way. I got sucked up in like the internet fad of like not loving John Cena. But I know that the time it switched for me to like this guy's really good was WrestleMania 26 when I went and I saw him wrestle against Batista. And after that, there was no turning back. John Cena was my guy. He was in my pocket, and I was ready to ride. Now, honestly, right before I sat down and I clicked the button to start the live stream today, I saw a video from my buddy, Assault and Battery 777. I've talked about him many a times. The Redemption Tour is still going strong. As of right now, the average is probably about once a week. Ravi comes on, he makes a really quick video, and he made a video. John Cena versus Gunther sucks. I could not want to be in a verbal debate with this guy. I wish it was back in the day. Um, when we would get on Skype and I would talk to Ravi almost daily, because I ultimately feel, um, completely the opposite. I think that what's up, John? I see your question. I'm going to get to it in 1 second, and I'm going to totally contradict myself. So get ready to call me out, call me a liar, call me whatever it is. But I think John Cena versus Gunther is quite possibly one of the biggest matches that they could have in WWE. I'll tell you this much. I said I didn't want to talk about him on my channel, ever again, really. Um, but John Cena versus The Rock quite possibly is the biggest match that they honestly could do. Now, we haven't seen The Rock since the Netflix debut, and I think maybe the NXT that ran the next night in Los Angeles, when The Rock got booed. And we all know what happens when The Rock gets booed. You go back to the Royal Rumble that Roman Reigns won. The Rock gets really confused. Everything The Rock does in his life, whether if it's getting up and going to the gym, eating pancakes, what he posts on Instagram, what he does out there in the world, doing interviews, everything is strictly rehearsed. They know the way that it's going to pan out. He just wants to be universally loved, and he got booed. And I think that's when he hit the ejection seat of like, I don't know what's going on with these guys. I'm going to go away for a while. And when I come back, you know, they're going to love me again. And I honestly think that's the place that they were at. Now, there was a time when The Rock did an interview and he talked about John Cena's last match. And I actually thought there was a chance he was going to show up. And I've seen a lot of videos and I've read a lot of things. There's people who believe The Rock is going to be in attendance at John Cena's last match. I don't think there's going to be a chance. I don't think The Rock is going to let somebody come out there and be a bigger star than him. As of right now, he just got his Golden Globes nomination for The Smashing Machine. Honestly, was not the best movie of all time, but when I went and saw it in the theaters, I thought it was a really good movie. I thought that The Rock, as an actor, probably played the best role that I had ever seen him in. I do like seeing him in like the action movies, where like he comes in there, swoops in, and saves the day. But you could tell that he transformed himself. At times he didn't look like himself. He became the character. You really believed that he had, a drug problem that was really running his life. Um, and I think that he really wants to win this award, the same way that he would want to win a Slammy in WWE or be WWE champion. He wants that, you know, on his Hall of Fame plaque one day when, he's finally getting the flowers he deserves as a good actor. I think The Rock is a great actor. Is Jumanji 3 going to break records and people think that, it deserves an Academy Award? No, but we're all going to go see it. Just like this Christmas, we're going to go see that Anaconda movie. That looks really, really good. But Ravi, I honestly believe that John Cena versus Gunther is a great match. There is only one match that I would want to see more um, than John Cena versus Gunther um, at Saturday night's main event, and that's John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I think a WWE Championship match ultimately would have been the biggest test for John Cena, and I think that if they would have made it the match, John Cena versus Cody, one more for the road. Let's see how much we got in the tank. He could have gone with a storyline. It's not what he's been saying in the interviews, but let's see how much longer this can last. He doesn't have to win it, but if he came out and he said that if he won the championship, he would defend it until the day that he lost, then ultimately we know that he has to lose at the end of the day. And we're not going to feel sad about John Cena losing a big match and some heel taking his championship. But when it comes to that, if John Cena wrestled against Cody Rhodes, John Cena would have to lose. I don't want to see John Cena lose this match. I don't want to see John Cena lose another match another day in my life. When I fire things up on the network, wherever it is going, in the upcoming year, I don't even want to watch an old match that John Cena loses. I just want to see Cena win because that's the way, honestly, I'm going to remember him for the rest of my life. Now, Ravi, I will tell you there's things about this show that I don't like. Ultimately, WWE, what the story that I've heard is that John Cena was going to have his last match, and they ultimately wanted to have like a 2-hour memorial of John Cena. I don't know if they were going to put him in the Hall of Fame, at this show, but I think they wanted to show great moments. They wanted to show wrestlers talking about John Cena. Ultimately, I think that would have been a very boring show that wrestling fans would not have turned in on Peacock. You got to think PLEs are now located on ESPN. These Saturday night's main events live on Peacock. Most people who are going to watch Saturday night's main event that are WWE fans are going to treat Peacock like it's a pay-per-view. They're not going to be firing it up and they're going to be watching The Office. They're not going to be watching, I don't even know anything that lives on Peacock ultimately. There was that really good show um with the girl that was on Orange is the New Black. She's not even a cop. She just knows when people are lying. Um that was a really good show. There was 2 seasons of that. It got a little weird at the end. It ultimately kind of turned like they were making movies instead of TV shows. But like people are going to buy Peacock to watch these Saturday night's main events. Now, if you're subscribing for this because you haven't had it since the ESPN deal, remember to keep it for January. Don't turn it off until after the January Saturday night's main event. So you might as well keep it through the Royal Rumble. But after that, it's only going to be quarterly, where we only have to, subscribe to Peacock 4 months of the year. Save a little bit of money. If you're not going to watch anything else on the streaming thing, you don't need to have 1,000 different streaming things that you don't even remember which ones you have. Just remember that when these are on, you can go see them. But I don't really know how it came to be. It sounds like WWE came to John and asked, like, what do you want this show to be like? Do you want us to like let you be the booker and like you book your favorite wrestlers in matches? And he just said he wanted to put over the stars of tomorrow. He wanted to show off the stars of NXT. Now, as a person like me, I've sort of got my schedule made out and I watch Raw. I watch the PLEs. Every once in a while, I'll watch a SmackDown. But when it comes to other things, like I'm watching basketball, I'm watching football. I watch Survivor. A part of my schedule, NXT, not even the NXT pay-per-views that used to be NXT takeovers. It's just not in my schedule. I can't even lie to you and tell you that I watch, highlights. I kind of just hear what people are talking about when I log on to Twitter and I'm like going through what WWE tweeted about on Tuesday. Maybe I'll catch something, but it's not like I'm watching all of the clips. I know the names because of like the names that people talk about that are out there. But this show to me, 3 of the 4 matches, I'll tell you the truth. 2 of them, I don't even know what's going on. That's the God's honest truth. Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi. I know that's going to be a good match. Cody's not going to have a bad match against anybody. You can let Cody Rhodes go out there and wrestle against Tozawa. You can have him, wrestle against Otis. And I think it's going to be a watchable match that's going to be there. So I know that match is going to be good. But the NXT stuff for me just kind of, it just gives me a weird taste in my mouth about that. This is supposed to be Saturday night's main event. It ultimately makes me wonder if Peacock and WWE aren't seeing eye to eye with the PLEs. I remember when Saturday night's main event came back, and that was a really, really big deal. I want to say it was roughly 2006, 2007. It was right before WrestleMania. We had Shane McMahon wrestle a ladder match against Shawn Michaels. We had I remember it was a 2-on-3 because there was a triple threat going up against just a regular match in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship matches, and they just put them all together as a Raw versus SmackDown ordeal. So maybe it was like John Cena, Edge, and Big Show against Triple H and Orton. I think that maybe that was the match, but before long, Saturday night's main event just wasn't working, and it was kind of getting publicity that it was like the worst rated specials in prime time that there's ever been. And that's bad news for the world of professional wrestling. And they had already been paid, so they had to keep living these on. And it wasn't like they wanted to keep trying to have good shows. They just put on hour specials, and it ended up being like the guys from ECW wrestling on Saturday night's main event. as a way just like to get through it. So I hope that's really not where they're going. I've never seen numbers. I've never seen a story. If NBC is excited, there was the story that said like this was like NBC's way of keeping the Peacock subscribers. Um, After losing the deal to ESPN. If they wanted to keep us, they should have just paid the money and just kept it on Peacock. There's a lot of people that are really upset with the ESPN, PLEs. But I'll tell you the truth. Like I'm pissed that the network ended because I always just liked WWE Network, even though Peacock was kind of the same, and you got more for your buck. And then honestly, I think it cost less in the long run when it first came out. It was like we were used to paying the $9.99, and then Peacock was only $5 when it first came out for a long time. But hey, it is what it is. This show, I'm sure it's going to be good. The Saturday night's main events, it ultimately feels like it was like a lot of commercials last time. So I'm hoping they find a median with all that. But I think this show is going to be really, really good. I'm just really scared about these NXT matches that I don't really know anything about. The match that I probably think is going to be the opener, even though I don't really know a ton about them. So I don't know if it'd be like pull you in to make you stay for the 4 match ordeal. Is Bailey going up against Sol Ruka? This match was kind of weird put together. Bailey goes and talks to, I believe it was Nick Aldis on SmackDown, and asked, like, hey, am I going to be getting a Saturday night's main event match? Bailey isn't really in the spot on the card that she's asking for matches on Saturday night's main event. She's running around with Lyra Valkyrie, and they're trying to be one of the teams that enters into the tag team division. I thought she was setting herself up with a whole crazy Bailey deal that, maybe she was going to be someone that was hunting after the Intercontinental Championship on the Monday Night Raw brand. And then all of a sudden, Nick Aldis talks to Ava, and then we're putting together this Bailey versus Sol Ruka affair. Now, Sol Ruka I haven't seen in some videos. She was the Speed Title tournament somewhere around Halloween Havoc. I ultimately heard a story that I thought Sol Ruka was injured, and it was like we didn't really know when she was coming back. I don't know if that was a whole storyline. Some people thought that her tag team partner was going to turn on her for not being able to wrestle in the match. I don't know. I don't even know if that happened or not. All I know is that she's back, and it seems like she's ready to go. This should be a really good match. It's going to kind of show like where Bailey is in the company, where like ultimately she is like the new Natalia. She is like the new measuring stick that is going out and then helping these young talents get there all on the way. I feel for Bailey. If you listen to her on the Undertaker podcast, where she talked about, being told that she was being booked for WrestleMania 41, and the week of told that she was being taken off the card because she was going to be replaced by Becky Lynch, and what that meant to ultimately be left off of a WrestleMania 1 year after winning the Royal Rumble, 1 year after winning the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 40. I felt for her, man. Like nobody wants to be left off of the card. I I 100% believe in that, and it made me really wonder, like, would she want to go to AEW and play with Sasha? I know that Bailey talked a lot about like, respect in the back, and like not understanding why these wrestlers they don't stay for the whole card once they find out that they're not booked on there. It's almost ultimately to me, it felt like she thought that those wrestlers were treating this as like more of the business, as like it's a job, and you go to work, and once you get there, the manager's like, hey, we're not going to be as busy as I thought we were today. You can head home. It's all good. And I think Bailey is saying, like, don't you know why we got into this business? Because we love this business. We get to be backstage, we get to have one of the best seats in order to watch this show, and why not sit there and watch it? And that's kind of the way I took it. So I don't think it's guaranteed that Bailey is leaving whenever she gets a chance. But I think that's in her mind. Like if I went to AEW, maybe I don't have to stay there forever, but would it be fun to go there and wrestle against Sasha? I apologize, Monet, and have like a big match on a WrestleMania scheme where like she could be the main event yet once again, instead of just kind of being like, what I feel about her is the way they treated Natalia in the first series of Total Divas when Natalia, like she felt like she was the aged veteran at that time around WrestleMania 29. They were starting to make her do interviews and like, not and use her as a manager instead of letting her go out there and wrestling matches because they were trying to like age her out is the way that she thought. That's the same thing I think that Bailey's going through right here. Bailey is involved in a tag team feud with Lyra Valkyrie as her partner. Lyra just lost to Roxanne Perez on Monday Night Raw. I'm picking Sol Ruca to get the win here. I don't see NXT running away and winning. I don't think they're going to win any other matches on this show. So I think they got to win one to stand strong. They're not just going to let them get clean swept. So I'm taking Sol Ruca to get the win against Bailey to start off Saturday night's main event. The next match, this is going to be short and sweet, honestly, just because I love Javon Evans, but I got nothing really to say against Leon Slater. As little that I know about NXT, I know even less about TNA. And I apologize. There's nothing wrong with TNA. I'm not knocking it. I'm not docking it. Like if you guys watch it, you guys go out there and you love it. I don't think there's any chance in hell that they're going to win against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. Going to be taking them in that match. Now, the match that ultimately is a surprise to me because of the fact that there's no championship on the line. This is not Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. Winner gets the WWF Championship or the Intercontinental Championship. This is just who's the best. Let's see what you got. WWE Champion Cody Rhodes going up against Obi Femi from NXT, your NXT champion. He just beat Ricky Starks last week. I think it was called Deadline was the name of the special show they ran. Champion versus champion. They actually ran it as the first match of the show because they wanted everybody to watch it, knowing the winner was going to fight against Cody Rhodes. And I think a lot of people out there thought that Ricky Starks was just going to win. We all know that he's such a big like Team Cody guy. He's been riding with Cody since AEW. He sort of got kicked out of AEW after he showed up to WrestleMania 40 and hung out with the Nightmare Family, and they just didn't want him anymore. that was crazy. And then he started getting like independent bookings, and then AEW kind of was like, "Hey, don't do that anymore." But Ricky Starks in this match. It's just going to be these two dudes. Now, Obafemi, I remember him showing up at the Royal Rumble last year. He's a big dude. He's got a lot of power. He's really strong. I think Cody's going to be able to ease him through a really good match, or Obafemi is probably going to have the advantage for probably like 60% of the time. And then, somewhere along the way, I think he's going to make a mistake, and that's where Cody is going to take over. Now, in this match right here, I ultimately think that we're not going to have a finish. I think that this match is going to be setting up Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, hopefully, finally paying off their feud that started with, Cody attacking Drew in the car. Of course, you got to go back to Drew beating up Cody in the bus. We got Drew being suspended from SmackDown. This is a Saturday night's main event show. It's its own show. I don't think that there's going to be any rules about Drew McIntyre being suspended or not suspended. So I think he's going to be able to sneak right on down to ringside. And I wouldn't be surprised if this match ends with Drew beating up Cody Rhodes. That's just the way that I think it's going to be. It's going to be thrown out. It's going to be no contest. And we're just off to the races. let's see right here. We got hold on. How do I say this? Kurt Edwards. God, I'm an idiot. I have high hopes, but ready to be disappointed with Saturday night's main event. I honestly think this is going to be a good show. They're going to have to steal me away, but I'm going to be going into a lot of these matches kind of being like, I have no clue what's going on. I love Javon Evans. I've seen him wrestle a few matches. His partner, I'm not sure who the heck he is. I just want to see AJ be able to go out there and have a good match, because as soon as Cena rides out, we're going to be starting to have to figure out what is AJ's exit going to be like. And then soon after that, we got to wonder, like, Randy Orton next. Or they could be running two retirement angles at the same time. And Brock's not going to be able to do this, honestly, forever. You said that the ESPN deal is kind of not working out. I saw what Freddie Prinze Jr. said. I'm not sure if it was on his podcast, if he still has it, or just a regular interview. I don't put a lot of faith in that. I like Freddie Prinze Jr. I've listened to a few of his shows back in the day, when he said he wanted to get into the wrestling business and he was looking to start his own promotion. I remember rooting for him there. But I'm not really sure who this inside source is from ESPN, but they haven't even scratched the itch on what this could be. They're going to have to keep pushing. As of right now, I think more than anything, that ESPN app is a failure, because of the fact that they don't really have a lot of other sports that aren't on ESPN or ESPN2. No one's like ready to just go turn on an app to see what they can already see on their television. They want extra. So you're going to have to go out and sign deals to put things on this, like you did with WWE. WWE is going to bring you people to like have a good ground floor of customers that are there because we want to watch these PLEs. But we're not going out to watch tennis or rugby. But I mean, if you find a way to make an exclusive football game beyond, that's going to cost you some coin, yes, but it's going to get other people to tune in and get the app and make, like, if you're a sports fan, you have to have this ESPN app. So, all right, main event of the show. We all know what it is. And honestly, we all knew what this was almost a year ago. It was, heavily rumored that John Cena would wrestle against Gunther in his last match. I've talked about this earlier. I'm not going to talk about it for a long time. I'm really, really scared about this match. John Cena seems to be like an old school wrestler that believes in the times of like going out on his back. You can see by the basis of the show that, he wants tomorrow in wrestling to be better than today. I think the saying is like, I have a hope that, at the end of my life, your full oh, hold on. My ceiling is your floor. They're like, I'm passing on to you this wrestling business, and I hope it only goes up from here. I don't want you to ever have to go back to the dog days of the 90s that like me and Jem had to live through back in the day with Doink the Clown and Mantar and crap like that. But if you go over and you watch AEW and you saw what they did with Sting, that was an awesome retirement angle. That was an awesome retirement match. And from what I've heard and what I've seen is that like the Young Bucks, AEW, Darby Allin, they all told Sting, like, you're not losing. There's no way we're going to let you lose. No matter how much Sting threw it out there that he wanted to do the favor, like, no, like you are the biggest name that has ever been in this company. You took a chance on us. We're going to take a chance on you. And we're going to let you leave this business as big as you ever were. Now, when it comes to John Cena, he's done his share of jobs. He lost to Cody. He lost to Brock Lesnar. He lost to Dom. That's 3 matches in 1 year. But I go all the way back to, I believe it was the Netflix debut in LA. He was wearing the blue Dodger shirt, and he talked about throwing his name in the hat, or throwing his hat in the ring for the WWE's Royal Rumble, that he wanted to win it. And then he ultimately stopped himself and he said, like, I got no chance to win this. And he threw out like a joke line that saying like, I haven't won a match in 3 years. And that's when like you look back and you're like, oh shoot, Cena's been doing a lot of jobs and putting people over. And I think that's when people threw it out. Like that's not what we're looking forward to in the last year of John Cena. And it's one of the reasons why I liked the storyline of John Cena turning heel, because he told you in that promo on Netflix that he knew he wasn't as good as he once was. He was going up against the stars of today and he had lost a step. So he was going to have to cheat. There was going to be a few belt shots along the way. Um so that's another reason that I think that like Cena might lose, is that he knows he's not as good as he once was, and he's going to have to be the best that he's ever been. Maybe that's what the Brock Lesnar match was getting us ready for a loss. I think that sucks. I don't want to see that at all, John. I mean, I don't. I don't even know what it's going to be like. I mean, Saturday night's main event back in July, they cut the feed with Goldberg in the ring, even with his family getting in there, and he was going to give a retirement speech that they knew about. But who wants to see a retirement speech from somebody who just lost? I know that we have the Hall of Fame. I remember back to, I believe it was 2010. John Cena lost a match. Did he lose a match or did the match just turn out? Was it the Survivor Series? There was a match with the Nexus storyline where either Cena didn't do what he set out to do or Cena lost a match and he was forced to retire. And he sold that thing like it was real. He rolled out of the ring. He waved at all the fans. He walked through the crowd and like to anybody that was out there, he was shaking hands. He was kissing babies. He was hugging fat chicks. He was doing the deal to the point like it sold it to a person like me that like there's no way that Cena's leaving WWE. He's not showing up in the Impact Zone on Thursday. I don't know what they're gonna do. They ended up running the whole Juan Cena storyline with him wrestling under a mask when they went on a Mexican house show tour, and that was awesome, by the way. I wish we got better video of that. Someday, WWE Vault, WWE Network, I want to see those matches and like some close to high definition, not like on like people's phones from the stands. But I'm so torn on this. I'll tell you the truth. I don't want to see Cena lose. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to say it 1,000 more. That I'm getting to the point where I think I understand a Cena loss. And that's where we're at. So I'm telling you the truth. I'm going to end the live stream because I want to go make some French fries and watch some TV. I know when my girlfriend gets home, we're going to start watching a couple Christmas movies tonight. We're going to try to start knocking those things out. It's already December 9th. We haven't watched any of them. It seems like we're going to watch Home Alone. I really want to watch the Neil Patrick Harris one. It's on HBO. I think it's called 8-Bit or so. I know it's not called Nintendo. Maybe it's called like 1985. It's about like Neil Patrick Harris as a kid trying to get his first Nintendo. That was freaking awesome. Makes me cry at the end. I'll tell you the truth. Christmas Story 2. I don't know where it lives. I think it's on HBO as well. That one's really good. It's not as good as A Christmas Story, but it's one that like nobody else really watches. So it's like fun to watch and then tell people about every year after I watch it. But Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3, they're all on the list. That Jonathan Taylor Thomas one that I watched one year, I'll Be Home for Christmas. I've never seen it since like 2010. I think I watched it at work on lunch. And I've said so many times I want to watch it again. So I'm feeling it. After this, I'm not saying the channel's going to be done, but we might be going into Christmas mode where there's just not a lot of time to do stuff like this. So we'll see what's going down. Hopefully everybody out there John Cena versus Gunther, Saturday night's main event. Tell me what you think. Peace out, everybody.